Hi everyone, I pray all is well. So, we all have different aspects to ourselves, and there's so many reasons why we have these aspects, why we experience sides of ourself throughout the day, whether you are relating to yourself or you're in a work environment, family dynamic, whatever situation you find yourself in. These different sides of yourself will arise as needed, and your needs are often relating to the way that you feel. So naturally, we seek security, we seek feeling safe, we seek feeling joyful, confident, all of those really great feelings that we wish to experience, to be embodied in our natural essence, in the way that we are designed naturally. This is where these aspects very well may come into play. And there's other situations where aspects must arise, but ultimately we are associating a shift in our way of being or embodying these aspects as to align to an emotional state that allows us to be as we are naturally. And it is likely that certain sides of ourselves are in conflict with one another, or certain sides of ourselves are in conflict with other beings. And I bring this up because I see that it is a contributing factor to depression, to not understanding how to integrate this awareness, to embrace these sides of ourselves that have been there to serve us throughout our life for all of the reasons that we may have needed to embody those ways of being. And y'all must have noticed when I come and make these videos, I'm coming with different sort of energy. Sometimes I'll be making a video in the middle of the day, or I'll be making a video at 11 at night. I've had a whole long day, and sometimes I will take a nap and wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and make a video. So y'all are catching me in these different states of being. And these are different sides of me. This is just an example though. When we're relating it to the more emotional side of things, you may have had an experience in life that was traumatizing, or a repetitive cycle in life that was traumatizing, that wasn't nurturing to your well-being in any one level of your body or experience, mental, emotional, right? And in that trauma, you have to embody these states of being in order to compensate or in order to adapt. But when you go out into the world, or you find yourself in a situation where you must relate to others, you wish to be appreciated, be validated, be celebrated in who you are, you're going to shift into that side of you that is more joyful, more celebratory, more suiting for that particular group or circle that you find yourself in, or that you seek being a part of. And those two energies, those different aspects of yourself, which are a part of you, which are there to serve you on some level, can be in direct conflict because one was based in trauma, one was based in extremely negative cycles and just undesirable circumstances, and the other is based in, you know, putting yourself out there and seeking connection and seeking love and seeking relationship, harmonious relationship. But if there's a need for both of these aspects to arise in a moment or in close proximity, like time-wise, then there is going to be this energy of discord or like a fragmented state of being. So how can we exist harmoniously and with the awareness of these different sides of ourselves that are here to help us, that have been here for perhaps many years to assist us? And the main thing that I've seen for myself is not rejecting these sides of myself. That's like the first step, to be accepting of yourself, to be accepting of where you're coming from, where you've been, to be accepting of those skills, because it's a skill to be able to embody an aspect of yourself as to serve you. And sometimes it's not necessarily healthy. Sometimes there's aspects of ourselves that perhaps we would like to let go of or acknowledge and accept and then release and no longer invite into your experience. But these are all things that are present, and when you can acknowledge them, when you can accept them, you are consciously choosing to accept yourself. You are no longer rejecting yourself. There is no need to project outwardly as to deny something that is within you. So this is another thing that is very draining emotionally, because if we can't accept these sides of ourselves, that sometimes these sides of ourselves are the most epic parts of ourselves. When you look into it deeper, when you start accepting it and learning about it and becoming curious about those more undesirable aspects, you realize that there is actually gems in there. There's gold in there to be extracted and to be proud of. To be proud of yourself, to be proud of what you've overcome. You know, and there's a clear distinction to be made when you are witnessing another being and you feel triggered, and you know, it's not necessarily reflective of you and your character, but it still triggers you because it's been something that has affected you. So there's a distinction between what that is and the projection that is unhealthy, the projection of, you know, rejecting yourself and denying yourself the reality of yourself, which isn't actually you. It's just the necessary part about existing in a third dimensional plane in a body. So that is something that I always remind myself, is that I'm not my emotions, I'm not the things that I've been through, I'm not the ideas of myself, even when they're good. Even the best aspects of myself are not like who I am fundamentally. but becoming aware. Awareness is so helpful. You notice. There could be like 5, 10, 20 aspects to yourself, sides of yourself, right? There's really serious Jocelyn, there's really sad and depressed Jocelyn, there's joking Jocelyn, there's all kinds of sides to me that most people don't get to see unless somebody gets to know me. And I do my best to understand these sides of myself. This is a practice that I have worked on so as to get out of this state of depression. So this is something that you can start to practice, is noticing different sides of yourselves and noticing if there ever comes a moment where you're having to embody different aspects of yourself and that are conflicting with one another in a very close proximity of time, and how that might be affecting your energy. Start noticing the ways that you can address yourself and create some resolve within that experience. There's so many different things that you can do. And I can assist you through that process if that was ever something that you were needing. Just feel free to email me and let me know, so that if you're needing assistance to move through that, to find solutions, if that's not something that you excel at or that you're skilled in, I'm more than happy to help and send you additional information on how we will go about that. But aside from that, just integrating that awareness that even when you have a side of yourself that is hard to accept, it's necessary to understand all of these aspects. It's necessary to see them for what they are. See them for how they've helped you, how they've assisted you. It's kind of like emotions. Emotions are there to assist you. They're not there to attack you, even when they're negative. These sides of yourself are just that deeper layer of how you are dealing with the emotion in response to the cause. Also, I wanted to address the varying degrees of depression. And I don't often speak too deeply on the actual diagnosis that you might get within therapy or all these different spaces, right? So I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm speaking from my intuition. Sometimes you're not necessarily experiencing this long-term depression, or it's not something that is, plaguing your existence, but throughout the week you feel those dips in energy, or it's low enough of a dip to feel like, yeah, it's kind of like short-term depression. I really don't feel that good. But you're not perpetually in this state of being. It's not crippling. It's not a cause to be of major concern, although it is still affecting you. It is still affecting the way that you show up for yourself, the way that you show up for your friends, the way that you show up for your family, the way you show up to life. So that energy of just these short spurts of what we might call depression. And relating it to these aspects that are conflicting. Just taking notice of the way that conflicting energies are going to drain you It is polarizing. And there's so many different ways that this can play out simultaneously. So, you have to go to work. You have to have interactions that you don't necessarily prefer. Things coming up in your mind from the past that affect you. So maybe at work, you love what you do, you show up, you're happy to show up. But while you're in the workplace, you're having a mind attack about some past version of yourself that does not reflect how you wish to move forward or how you show up in your workplace. So this can diminish your sense of self-worth. This can diminish your sense of worthiness. It can activate feelings of guilt. What aspect arises? What version of you arises when you're experiencing guilt? Well, it might be an aspect of yourself that is angry, the aspect of yourself that goes into complete silent mode. So now you're in this space where you're supposed to be having interactions, you're supposed to be, or you're naturally just interactive and you're joyful and you're in this state of fulfillment within your workspace, and yet you're embodying an aspect of unworthiness, lack of confidence, because your mind is fixating on a past experience. You move forward, next day, and throughout the days, there is feelings of regret. Oh, well, I had that work opportunity and I completely messed it up. And you see, so it's a cycle, and there could be 5 of those experiences happening at one time. There could be 10, 20 experiences, aspects of yourself arising as you are going throughout life. So when you think about these, when you reflect on yourself and you say, well, actually, I'm a relatively happy person. I'm actually pretty solid. I'm pretty stable. What's going on? Like you never even take the time to think about it, because life, you have to experience life. You're in the midst of your experience. So sometimes we kind of lose track of that, of how necessary it is, how essential it is to really check in and to take those moments to reflect, to inquire, like I always say. My foot is dead asleep right now. Okay. So keep that in mind. If you're somebody who, for the most part, you're pretty solid, or you would say that you're open-minded and you have all the necessary knowledge and you're willing to put in the work to apply the knowledge, and you have things to be grateful for, you don't take things for granted, all these wonderful things, and yet keep that in mind, that these subtle things are happening psychologically as you go throughout your day, and it could be draining your energy. So again, start to become aware, I feel like I'm looking in the wrong direction, start to become aware of how this is affecting you, and start to practice, as things arise, an appreciation for those aspects of yourself, an understanding, so that you can harmonize which parts of yourself are arising to your circumstance, to what you're needing, how you're needing to show up for life. So yeah, pretty short message, but I don't really feel like I have anything else to say. I'm trusting that all is improving as you are observing my videos, and hopefully this energy will open other doors that can also serve you in the ways that will help you take it to the next step. Don't hesitate to connect with me. And also, don't hesitate to click the link to my Patreon. There's certain videos in there that are having a meditation or additional information. So if you want a guided meditation, or even if you would like to have an experience with me one-on-one, I'm more than happy to share that with you. So just reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'm here. I'm here, and fear be gone. So I appreciate you guys.